Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us in this Ask Me Anything session about ACM Open and the Digital Library. It is good to be communicating in this way as well with the community, ACM members, and in general the community at large, the computing community. I'm Yannis Ioannidis. I'm the president of ACM, and I have with me Jack Davidson, who is the Digital Library Board chair and a major figure in the part of what the Digital Library is and how it evolves as a platform, as a system. And we hope that Dame Wendy Hall will also join us who is the co-chair of the Publications Board, who is the board of volunteers responsible for opening up the Digital Library and its content. Of course, we have staff, Wayne Graves, and other staff that Wayne Graves is the Digital Libraries Director. Scott Delman, the Director of Publications, is on the air. We'll see if it comes, if he is able to connect from there. Without any further ado, I'll share very few pictorial slides to explain where we are and what has happened as of January 1st. And then we'll open up for questions. For questions, you can be raising your hand, and I'll try to keep up with the hands, but also you can be typing them up on the chat, and then Jan Timanovsky, again from ACM headquarters, will be following that and will be fielding the questions. So let me share my few slides. Welcome, Wendy. Share. Is it visible?
Yes.
Excellent. Okay, thank you very much. So ACM Open and the ACM Digital Libraries, I already introduced who we are from the volunteer leadership of ACM. So starting from open access in June 2020, the ACM Council decided the following thing, and then in the last 4 meetings of the Council, different constituencies since 2020, so from late 2024 until a few months back in October, this decision was repeated and reaffirmed by Council as things were developing, as the Digital Library was developing, and as the setup, the whole model around open access was being developed. And what was that decision? That all ACM publications and related research artifacts in the ACM Digital Library will be fully openly available after the 1st of January 2026. That was a decision. ACM publications is emphasized because we do have publications that we serve that are not ours, that are sister societies that we collaborate with and other owners. And related research artifacts means, presentations, data sets, software that sometimes accompany a paper. And of course, that was a decision, but now the future is the past, are now fully openly available, and since the 1st January of 2026. There are very many videos and other resources to understand how it works, and I'm just showing them and to show the links and so on. So if you can check YouTube and other channels, you'll find enough information for how opening up the content of the Digital Library works out. Let me explain now the model that we established through these decisions, and with lots of work from volunteers and staff, is to how we finance this change, how we finance something that was opening up. So here are some animations. What you see the picture is that you have ACM, you have the Digital Library and its contents. And on one hand, on the left, we have authors that produce papers in journals or conferences, and the accepted papers go into the Digital Library, and then readers read them. The case until December 31st was that we have a paywall between the reader and the digital library, and also the reader is considered not just as an individual, but also belonging. Most readers belong to some institution, and all institutions belong to some country. And there was a subscription to the digital library and paid either by the individual or by the institution or by the country. This was the situation for the contents of the digital library until now. Now this paywall has been removed. That's what happened on January 1st, 2026, officially. And the paywall is on authoring. And in order to look into financing open access in the digital library, open does not mean free. There is a cost in publishing. It has to be covered through some resources. ACM, the author, saw them symmetrically with the reader. I mean, these are roles. Some people are both. Some people are only readers. The author also belongs invariably, not always, to an institution and to a country. And we came up with the ACM Open system that tried to remove the burden of paying from the individual author and put it in a symmetric way, like the situation that was to be before, to the author's institution or to the country. And that model is called ACM Open. And for many years, that led to, until now, and it continues, ACM has been trying to get institutions or whole countries to subscribe to ACM Open. And this, whatever paper has its corresponding author belonging to any institution or country, that subscribes to ACM Open, then they can publish for free. Otherwise, we have the regular way of supporting open access, which is every paper paying article processing charges, APCs. And I want to emphasize that we are the only society, of that scale, only having a digital library with so much integrated content that is offering the ACM, a model like ACM Open. Everyone else is going just with APCs, again, everyone at that scale. We have that, and of course, as we used to have at the level of ACM, we have waivers that if an author does not belong to an ACM Open institution, but still cannot do it, we have various ways that, like geographic waivers. There are a few tens of countries that if you publish and you are from that country, your APCs are waived. Having a focus on the author and emphasizing the need to not leave any author behind as much as possible. In addition to all this, in addition to having really low article processing charges, we have established a transition plan to lower them even more for the first year, and we'll see how this will evolve in the second year. And not only that, again, in the same spirit, we're trying to find other resources of funding to cover authors that are not publishing, they're not belonging to an ACM institution or cannot pay, and so on. So other separate groups within ACM, for example, regional councils or SIGs can offer waivers based on criteria that we have established. And there are a whole bunch of other ways that we are trying to support those authors that are not covered. This is roughly the way things are from now on in terms of authoring. This is the world picture of how much of the world, authors of the world are covered. And you can see that many regions of the world have a smaller or larger number of institutions that are covered. Some are individual institutional deals, other are country deals. A characteristic example is that India has their policy was ONOS, one nation, one subscription. So the whole country, all public institutions in India are covered now from in ACM Open. More than 3,000 institutions have subscribed to ACM Open. And now, in addition to the contents of the digital library, we have value-added services around it. So let me continue. What used to be before, so until December 31st, or more or less, I mean, we did a soft launch a couple of weeks back. So we had the digital library, we had a paywall around it, and we had a bunch of value-added services depicted here as the little white services around it. And the reader had to go through the paywall to read the content, but those services are free. This was before. And now, in addition to the basic, in addition to this version of, or this edition, I should say, of the digital library, we are establishing a new edition. The content is the same, and we have a lot more services that will continue to expand and evolve the digital library with additional services that offer additional insights on top of the content and so on. The first one, the original one, will be called Basic, and the other one is called Premium. And one of the reasons for establishing this second edition, the Premium edition, is to have a lot more services that we can offer to the users of the digital library. So in addition to have an enhanced reader, if you want a premium reader, but also to have another resource of money to support open access. So those who have access to premium, they will have either themselves or the institution or the country pay a subscription to the premium edition. Talking about money, let me say that with our modeling and opening up the content of the digital library, we are not yet sustainable. So with everything that we have established, there is a financial gap, and ACM is investing part of its resources, parts of its assets in order to cover that gap, even including with a subscription for the premium version. So especially for everyone who is in ACM Open and subscribe to ACM Open already gets the premium with no additional charge. But those who are not part of ACM Open, many hundreds of institutions and thousands of individuals wanted to have access to the premium version. The difference is that the basic one, as we said, if you notice my animation, the paywall is removed, but also a bunch of the value-added services, most of the value-added services were removed. And since then, we listened to many comments about the digital library. In many ways, we had established already channels within the digital library to receive comments, and we received many, and also external paths have been established by members of the community to receive comments. And since then, we have put back some of the services, but not all, that used to be for free before. Now they are free in the basic version. And from here on, we'll continue receiving feedback and also working hard until the premium version is fully, is very rich. It's continuously to be enhanced. Comments also, by the way, existed for some of our new services, and we're working on those as well, and we have made some changes on those as well. And as we move along to see how the basic will be enriched also, and the premium as well. That's it from now, for now and from me. Let me stop sharing and open it up for questions. I already see a hand. Yash, please. I cannot hear anything.
Yeah. So Yannis, we have some questions that have been entered into Q&A already. Would you like me to read some of those questions?
Well, since I already said that,
Sure.
I see that there are a couple of people raising their hands.
Sure.
Let me, Yash, can you speak?
Mm-hmm.
Please, go ahead.
Go ahead, Yash. I've promoted you to be able to speak now.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, you are.
Hi, Anis. I had a one question that through student access, will I be able to read any book as of now?
I could not hear you very well. You said if you can read any book
Ac-
now.
Actually, I have recently joined ACM chapter from my college, Navrachni University, Vadodara. So I had a few questions. Are there any events that you're planning to organize in India or any access that students can benefit from that research? I have seen many research papers, they're abstract citations, but it's just that when I try to read the whole summary, I believe it's expensive research papers, but any one or at least a few that can be accessed for students. What's your take on that?
First of all, yes, there are events happening in ACM unrelated to the topic of this webinar. On the 14th of February, the ACM annual event is happening in Hyderabad, and then other ACM will also be participating in the AI Impact Summit in New Delhi. So there are events that are happening. If you are in a public institution of India, then you have access to the entire content. There's no issue of being expensive. If you're in a private university of India, then there are some efforts for other resources to be covered but then you won't have. But there are 6,000 institutions, so hopefully you're a student in one of them.
Yannis, he asked about books, particularly. Books are different.
I see. Yes, books. Please go ahead, Wendy.
He asked about both. I didn't get your name, but books are different. They aren't covered by the open access agreements at the moment. It's a very different kettle of fish, as we say. So you can't get books for free, I'm afraid, unless the authors have made them that way. But which institution are you at? Oh, he's gone.
Yeah, let's move on, and then we can see
But
from the chat.
He'll have access, whatever institution he's at, he'll have access to all the content. All the papers are free, right? Whatever institution he's at, the papers are free now.
I am from Navrachni University, Vadodara, Gujarat, India.
Okay. All the papers are free, whatever institution you're at. Every paper is free now. Maybe you tried to access before 1st of January. Now every paper is free to access.
The point of open access is that for research results that have been publicly funded or coming through published with ACM to be free, not other content.
Let's go to someone else.
Yeah, Jan. Yeah, exactly. Jan, please go to some question, one or two from the Q&A, and then we'll come back. I see Moshe and two others having raised their hand. But let's see the Q&A. Yeah.
Yeah, we have a question from Moshe, so maybe this will answer the question he's raising his hand for. So Moshe,
it's the definitive question.
Yeah, this is what we're talking about. So Moshe says more than 1,600 people signed a petition that ended up with, "We insist that ACM return to the right side of history by restoring fully free and open access to all DL features that have lately been paywalled." What is your response?
This is definitely the goal, and I'm firm in my belief and my conviction, if you want, and that this will happen. It will happen tomorrow, for various reasons, technological and also, responsibility towards the people who have already subscribed. But incrementally, this is the goal. There is no other goal. The basic edition will have all functionality. The goal is to have all functionality that has been recently paywalled back installed for free. And the premium version that will continue to exist and enhanced have a whole bunch of value-added things that will be paywall. So there is no doubt in my mind this will happen. It won't happen tomorrow. It can happen. I hope it will happen relatively soon, but it will take some time to change the architecture of the system, to bring it back, and also, as I said, not just for technological reasons, but also policy. But the goal, there's no other goal, Moshe. That's it. That is the goal.
So we haven't. Oh, go ahead, Wendy.
Yes, please.
Well,
Wendy.
I was just going to say, to help Yannis, or to make the point that the framing of can ACM return to the right side of history, I find a bit difficult to accept, because we are on the right side of history. We have moved our organisation to what the community wanted, which is all the content of papers is free to read. Nobody else has done this. We have brought in the changes with bringing in the basic and the premium DL, and we accept that we didn't consult enough about those changes before releasing them, and that's what we're trying to help with now. But we are on the right side of history, Moshe, and the petition does acknowledge that that is the right thing to do. We now need to get the detail right on this, so please bear with us while we do. We are listening to the community. That's why we're here today.
Thank you very much, Wendy. Indeed, the petition and some other comments use terms that we don't find appropriate, but let's ignore all this and let's stick to the facts and our goal and what tangible the petition is saying, or what tangible about 100 other comments that have come through our regular channels are saying, and we're working on that. Please, another question from the chat, and then we'll go back to hands. Yeah.
Yes, another question that seems to be resonating with at least several people is, what is being done to ensure that the OA fees are not a barrier to those scholars who work outside institutions, i.e. independent and community-based researchers?
There is quite a few researchers and scholars that belong to this situation, either because they're retired or because they are in industry that does not have research, like gamers, for example. That's a characteristic example. And we're working, as I said, to enhance our revenue streams so that this can be done. They can be publishing without the burden of paying out of pocket. This is work in progress. As we said, the original fee for APCs has been reduced dramatically to 1/3 what it is. We'll see what we'll do for next year. But the goal is, again, for no author to have to pay APCs. It's not always easy, but the same way I said the goal for what the basic edition should be, I'm saying also that the goal is here the same. No author should pay APCs, and we'll find the revenue streams. We are in very good position. As I said, 3,000 institutions have joined. Other forms are coming up, but we are not covering everyone, but we will. I see. Yeah, I saw Moshe lowered his hand, so maybe that was his question. Let's go to Francis Darko.
Go ahead, Francis.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much for doing this. My name is Francis Darko from Ghana, West Africa. I'm a data scientist. I'm with Carolina University. I'm new to ACM, but I'm fascinated by what ACM is doing, because anytime I visit the site, there is something new you can chance on and read. But my question is, does ACM have any tutorial lessons for new writers, just like myself?
Tutorials. There are many tutorials that are published as part of our conferences, and whatever documents are published from the tutorials are part of ACM Open, and they are openly available, and you can read them. there are webinars that are given
Okay.
that talk about this. And welcome to ACM, by the way,
Thank
same
you.
way with Yash. And if you have any questions like this, more general about availability of content, I mean, there are ways to inquire
Okay.
our staff and our volunteers and find out.
Okay.
And yeah,
Thank you very much.
let's go to chat, Jan.
Sure. So we did have a question. Thank you for opening up the DL and making it generally available. Are there any caveats of this move that we need to be aware of? So of course you've spoken a bit about this already, Yannis. I don't know if there's anything you wanted to add to that.
I think I've spoken, but maybe saying them in a different words would be helpful to repeat what it is. Jack, do you want to say anything? And then maybe Wendy?
Well, I'm not sure there are any caveats. I mean, other than, again, in terms of, depends on where you are, whether you'll have access to the premium edition, but the basic edition, the content is free to everybody. So I'm not sure in terms of, was there a specific concern that you had in terms of caveats?
Well, maybe because he wants to be an author. I mean, there are caveats for authors if you're not at one of the institutions that has signed up, but or an independent, if you're an independent researcher or a retiree. But we've been discussing that. I think the key thing is we're moving to help everybody, so that the transition is going to take a while to get right. We are listening, and we're moving. Oh, and I've always thought this would be a transition year, right? We moved on the 1st of Jan to open access, which meant we opened up the access to the basic digital library. And I say again, I think that's a huge achievement. We've been working on this for years in the ACM, and it's a huge achievement for the community. And now we've got to get the detail right to make sure that we're fair to everybody who wants to contribute to the papers in the digital library and to the community. And we've got to get that detail right. And I guess we'd ask you to bear with us while we do. We listen, and you can't change these things overnight, the things that we've already put in progress. So.
And we don't do everything perfect. We made a mistake for some things. Already there have been 2 releases, like Wayne, 2 releases since January 1st, that a bunch of things have been restored in the basic version, and a bunch of issues with the new services have been rectified, but it's work in progress. It was a huge transition. But the only thing that is not changing is that we will continue to be changing. And I did see Cassie's Duggins, I'm not sure how it's pronounced, message about billionaires. Yes, Cassie, this is one of the ways that we are trying to work on, not necessarily billionaires, but also sources of funding that are not traditional for ACM. To support us in opening up content and opening up of the old services and so on. Maybe now go to Bertrand. Hand is raised.
Hey, Bertrand, go ahead.
Yeah, so of course what you've done is fantastic, and I applaud it. I'd like to push a bit the independent researcher point. I don't think it's as deserved all the attention I don't think it's got all the attention it deserves. I was on the train from Zurich to Bern the other day, and there was this strange guy, a clerk at the patent office, and he has 5 papers, but he's not sure the patent office is going to want to pay for them. So, any joke apart, I think this is a really serious question. And what I've noticed is the change in the instruction to authors in my own papers. It used to be that APCs were essentially voluntary, and at the end of the
we lost Bertrand, but I
Lost
think we got
Bertrand.
yeah.
I mean, his
But I think we
point's
got
very
the gist of
valid,
yes.
and we should maybe
Yes,
address
Wendy,
it
please.
again. No, it maybe address it again. I mean, we are very acutely aware of the way the transition is affecting the group of independent researchers, and it's very high on our priority to address that. Right?
And not only, and just to complement what Wendy said, not just to do it in general, but don't forget, we have the institutional and country level, we have the individual APCs, but we have waivers. And people who are not covered by institutions then can apply for a waiver. And of course, if they are, a retired CEO from a big tech company, we won't grant the waiver. But if it's someone else, possibly a member of a patent office in Bonn or in Bern, then we'll consider, because the financial situation is different. So yes, we will. Don't forget, we have the individual waiver path. Doesn't always come to a positive response, but it does exist, and it comes positively quite some time. Jan, a couple of questions from the chat.
So, Yannis, there's one there that I think would be good to answer. It's from
Yes.
David Goldfarb. He says, I'm a sole practitioner, longtime ACM member, 42 years. Thank you. Wow. I've always paid for the DL because I do not live or work close to any library. What, if any, are the reasons for me to continue to pay for access? Is everything now free? So you've kind of hit the crux of this whole basic versus premium, split. So, in fact, hopefully you are still willing to pay for access through a subscription to get those enhanced features. But again, to get to the content, it is free. And so, we're trying to balance this. We want people to, be willing to pay, and essentially institutions, definitely institutions, we want them to continue to pay, their subscription. And so this is why we did this split. So hopefully the new features are compelling enough to you that you will continue to pay. But if all you were interested in was getting to the content, yes, you don't have to subscribe anymore. So
You mean he doesn't pay his membership, is what you're saying? I mean, that's the question he's asking. Does he need to pay his membership? Because what he's saying is, I only pay my membership to get the email address. If everything's free, I don't need to pay my membership. It's a valid question. And there's another question. There's a follow-up about lifetime membership.
Before we go to that, Wendy, just to complement the answer, if all you care about is access to content and you don't want anything, you don't need anything from ACM, then it is true. But we hope we know, and we're working for that, to make ACM much more than just a gateway to content. We have a whole bunch of services. We are a community. And in addition to whatever member services we are offering, for me, the main reason, there are other reasons, but the main reason to be a member of ACM is that the world needs us as computing people, whether we are undergraduate students all the way to retired practitioners or Turing laureates and so on. We need to come together to address the technical challenges and the societal challenges that are depending on our community. And none of us individually can move the needle. But being part of ACM, we can contribute, and the entire community move the needle quite a bit, as we're happening on technology policy, education, and so on. So if some of the services, the value that we bring in matters to you, then yes, be ACM a member.
I think
Wendy, what was the next question?
No, well, it was the point that other people raised about lifetime membership, right?
Okay.
For people who've been long time members and are now retirees who aren't active necessarily but want to read, so they can now read. So I think we maybe need to look at the lifetime membership. It's a good question. We maybe need to look at the lifetime membership deal because some people, yeah,
I understand.
part of
Well,
this.
there is a lifetime membership. It does have some cost depending on your age and how many
Exactly.
years you've
So
been a member. Yeah, I am a lifetime member, but we're making a note of it, and it doesn't have to do with ACM Open or DL.
well,
But
it does
thank
in
you
a
for
way
raising it. And
because
yeah, well,
Exactly.
Wendy, we will look into it, possibly changing our levels of membership. Let me say that as part of my presidential initiative, ACM 4.0 and now 4.1, one of the presidential task forces, one of the 15 presidential task forces, is on membership model. And as part of there, we're looking into what membership model makes sense for different constituencies. And you're making a very good point. What about retirees in relation to lifetime membership? So this is on the table. Thank you. Thank you. Any other question from the chat before going to Amna?
I think, Yannis, again, there's one
Yes.
more that I think
Sure.
would be good to address because this has come up, I think, and was in the petition. This is from John. I may mispronounce your last name, Dilly. Thank you for the time today, for the open discussion, and for making the DL fully open available. My question, why was the change to put the metrics behind a paywall quietly made during many people's holiday time without providing opportunity for discussion? So it's fairly common in practice to do what we call a soft launch during a slack time, where you're doing so that you have time to address issues. And in fact, that's exactly what happened. There was this issue with the metrics and that kind of thing, and we were able to quickly address those issues. So it wasn't, there was no intention to try to, sneak this by anybody. Again, it was to minimize potential disruption and to address any immediate concerns that were raised, which we actually did. And again, I mean, this is common practice to do these soft launches during times of reduce usage. It reduces the risk of, if the initial deployment fails, you can address feedback, which, we did. If there's performance reliability issues or anything like that, we can make corrective changes before peak usage or broad publicity. So, anyway, I hope that answers your question.
Let me just say one more thing to what Jack you said exactly. The petition implies that we try to pull a fast one on the community, and it also implies various other negative things. We are ignoring that part because none of it is true. Obviously, we are ACM. We are driven by volunteers. We are driven by members of the community. And it's not, ACM try to do something. No, we who are like you, members of the community, try to do our best. And we did make a mistake. We didn't communicate this differentiation earlier to get feedback, although the Digital Library Board had a whole bunch of focus groups looking about what will go in and what will go on the other. Not probably, by the result, we didn't do enough and diverse feedback. So this was a mistake, and we are changing this with continuous launches of putting back things into the basic. No, we did not pull a fast one in this, and that's that. And we'll continue. We'll continue to be moving. Next, Amna, maybe?
Sure. Go ahead, Amna. Okay. Amna, if you are not there. I can skip
No, he's
to.
muted. If you're speaking, you are muted, Amna.
Okay, so maybe we'll give Amna a minute to return, but I can
Sure.
move to Michael Harrison.
Jan, can you be removing the people who already asked their questions from having the right to speak so that we have Amna? Michael Harrison, you are also muted.
Okay, and
no, you removed Amna. Remove Yash and Francis also.
I did.
Okay, I'm still seeing them, but that's okay.
Okay, would you like me to move on to Elias?
Yeah, to check
the next person. Yep.
Okay.
Okay, Elias, go ahead.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. First of all, I'd like to congratulate Professor Ioannidis and the staff at ACM for this great initiative with the
And
digital
the
library.
volunteers.
Yeah, and I came into the webinar a little bit late, so I'm not sure I captured the difference between the basic and the premium services. Can you please clarify?
That's a very long answer to cover it, but let me just say that a lot of metadata visualizations and aggregate information about access, about everyone's full author profile available to everyone, and a whole bunch of AI services on top of that content belongs to premium, and access to the content and the main metrics about citations and downloads and so on of every paper, and for an individual author to see their own profile and be able to release it in a different way with a particular mechanism to the world has been restored to basic. Also giving feedback to the AI results has been put to basic. So these are just a flavor between the two. I don't know if Jack, you want to say anything more?
That helps me a lot. Thank you very much.
No, I think you covered it.
Okay. Let's try with Michael Harrison again, maybe. If you can unmute Michael. Yeah, let's move on to the next person,
Okay.
or to the next hot question from the chat, whatever. Yeah.
Sure. So we received a comment in the Q&A. ACM should be transparent about the expenses and revenue associated with the OA model, both from author and reader perspectives.
Wendy, do you want to talk about it and your paper on CACM a couple of years back?
Oh, Scott wrote that.
Okay, well, both you and Diverse as
I'm
chairs.
sorry, my mind was distracted. What was the question? It's about
Okay,
financing.
Well, no, transparency. Let me quickly give the answer. Absolutely right. And I have to be, in addition to opening up the digital library, I feel proud being part of ACM, which is the only society that has released and openly published its expenses. In CACM, I think a couple of years back, there was a big article explaining the finances to the gory detail. So please check it out. I don't remember the particular issue of CACM. And we'll continue to be doing this and be transparent. And also, as ACM opened, in addition to the finances, have been explained by an article by Wendy Hall and Divesh Srivastava, the two co-chairs of the Publications Board, and Scott Delman, the Director of Publications. An article about the two versions of the digital library will be coming to ACM, written by Jack Davison, as I said, the chair of the Digital Libraries Board, and Wayne Graves, the Digital Libraries Director. So if we are missing on transparency, on any aspect of transparency, it may be just a mistake. Like, as I said, we were so excited about opening up the content of the digital library that even in my announcements and my social media posts and everything, I was talking about ACM Open and focusing on the author, changes on the author, that I was carried away and didn't mention about the two versions. That was a mistake. It was not because of lack of transparency, it was lack of, it was too much enthusiasm, I guess, but we are reconciling that.
Now, Yannis, let me just say a bit about, I don't want to go into the detail because Scott Delman has all that and Wayne and they have all the detail about the finances, but we had a lot of discussion about publishing that paper in the CACM, and we decided we should publish everything. We're very transparent about how ACM publications have been financed up until now, how the publications and the DL have been financed up until now. Switching to open access on the 1st of January changes the whole financial model. All right, and that has been tracked and tracked and tracked. You can see where we were in the CACM article. It was about a year ago, I think it was. We were looking at how because the DL has basically, it's been one of the big sources of income for the ACM to keep the whole organization going. We've now moved to a completely different financial model. You don't buy the journals or the access to the conferences. The institutions pay a license effectively. It's a complete, and we have modeled it and modeled it and modeled it within the ACM, and discussed it every council meeting for the last 3 years while you've been president, Yannis, certainly, to make sure that as we go forward, we have a financial model that's sustainable and equitable. That's the key thing, fair and equitable. We have detail to sort out yet as a part of the transition to the way the DL now runs between basic and premium. But we have opened up the content as we promised to the community 5 more years ago. 2020, wasn't it? We first promised this.
Yeah, June 2020, 5.5 years ago. And let me repeat, we're not sustainable yet. ACM is putting parts of its assets to cover the gap, but we'll get there, and we'll get there in a way that gives to the community what it has expressed and what it needs.
So Yannis, there's another question in the Q&A that I think is probably worth doing because we've heard quite a bit about this. Is it okay to do that?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Jack, someone's put the URL to the CACM article. Thank you, whoever that was.
Yeah. Wayne, great. Thank you, Wayne.
So this is from Michelle Boudouin-Lafont, who Michelle, long time
council member
of the he asks, what do you think is the value of the AI generated summaries? To me, they devalue the work of authors by providing long, poorly written paraphrases of their papers, not to mention the hallucinations or misrepresentations. So we definitely recognize that the use of AI-generated summaries raises important and legitimate questions, and we certainly appreciate the community's careful scrutiny. These summaries are intended to augment, not replace, author-provided abstracts or the original scholarly record. They're clearly labeled as machine-generated. They're distinct from their author-written content. And they are designed, and we worked with the vendor so that readers, especially people who are non-experts, could quickly understand the scope and structure of an article. Again, particularly across disciplines or when exploring unfamiliar areas. And again, the authoritative version of record remains the published article and the author's abstract. Like I said, these summaries often, like I said, serve multiple purposes, including, the abstract include, author advocacy for the work, whereas the summaries the vision was that they would provide a more neutral, descriptive overview of what the paper actually contains. And, you know, when done right, this can improve discoverability and help readers decide, you know, which articles merit deeper reading. And, you know, like I said, generates more views of the paper. Now, we've gotten a lot of feedback about that. One of the things that we've done in response to that is the authors now can review the summary and provide feedback, and we can regenerate the summary. So hopefully, you know, these summaries, if there's problems with them, they can, you know, be addressed. Your concern about hallucinations, again, through the vendor, the way they do this, you know, that that's reduced, and certainly, but again, we get, you know, feedback from this. So this is, again, you know, we're proceeding cautiously. You know, we're evaluating these things for accuracy and bias. And, you know, we're talking to some groups about, again, the language that sometimes is being used, especially for papers that are about diversity and that kind of thing. So hopefully, you know, this is, you know, again, one of these value added that hopefully people, you know, and again, institutions, you know, see value in terms of subscriptions. So Michelle, I hope that answers, you know, kind of addresses your question.
Yeah. Wendy?
Jack, Mosh has asked, shouldn't authors be able to opt out of AI summaries?
So that's certainly on the table, and I can see it, you know, both ways. You know, the author, you know, I guess, you know, again, I would prefer the author provide feedback and we get that summary, you know, correct, because I do think it's useful for, you know, a wide swath of readers. But on the other hand, I understand authors have a lot of ownership in their article, and so that's still being discussed, whether to do that. Like I said, our current way of operating is authors help us improve the summaries. Let's get those right. But it's an ongoing discussion.
And let me say, I think there's a comment for you, Jack, that it's worth reading on the chat. From Cassie, yeah. But let me also say that seeing the reaction of the community to the AI summaries, as I said already, a bunch of things have been changed to be able to give feedback and for the abstract of the author to be the main thing that you see, and then you also have the AI summary. But immediately, ACM, we have reacted, and I have formed another presidential task force titled Responsible AI Use within ACM. And that includes AI use in the digital library, plus everywhere else where AI can be used in the context and the sphere of services and activities of ACM. And Michelle Bourdon-Lafont is a member of that. So hopefully, Michelle, by being there, you'll be able to contribute with your thoughts and ideas and what you think is the right thing. And the presidential task force is supposed to give us the report by the end of March, so that the next council meeting at the end of March will make a decision based on that recommendation. So we are working, in addition to dealing with the DLS platform, we are working on the policy side as well. I don't see any hands raised, so from the Q&A or chat, if you see something. We are 4 minutes.
Michelle says you can count on me. Thanks, Michelle.
Okay, great.
Yeah,
thank you.
absolutely.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you. Yes.
There was a question, Yannis, about maybe you've covered this already, whether donations could be accepted in order to support OA access.
Absolutely. Donations can be, ACM as a non-for-profit organization accepts donations. Some of them, many of them are earmarked for this, and some are generous giving to ACM to support its overall activities. So there can be donations, and we're working on them on that front to have donations for open access to cover the authors that are not covered, or donations for changing the platform and opening up all the previously opened value-added services. So absolutely, yes, donations are accepted, small and large. There was one chat about finding billionaires. Well, that's in the works, but usually the sum of the tail of the distribution is bigger than one spike at the head of the distribution. So any donations at any amount earmarked possibly for openness of content and services are very welcome.
Well, we will pay our membership.
Membership is a big thing, and one thing I want to say, thank you, Wendy. I mean, you triggered this. We are trying to cover, in principle, the cost of publishing by the proceeds of our various avenues, revenue streams that are related to publishing itself. But another presidential task force whose work is close to be done is about a new financial model about ACM as a whole. So doesn't have to be that the publishing costs. If we have other revenue streams that come into the organization, then some things may become freer, less expensive or free, whereas because of that other revenue stream. So we're looking at the portfolio of services of ACM. Member benefits, membership is a very big thing, but also other revenue streams. And again, being part of ACM may mean different thing, may meant a different thing for me when I was young and joined more than 40 years ago, than to the currently student that spoke from India and Ghana and so on. We're trying to put our thumb on the pulse of different groups that are in computing, including interdisciplinary computing, and see what makes sense for them to be part of this family, to be part of this community. Because only when we come together financially and by volunteering, we'll be able to address challenges. There are so many that we create as technologists, and Michelle mentioned a few about the use of AI, but not only, and also other challenges that depend on computing. So we have one more minute.
Can I say, a lot of people said they want a sweatshirt like yours, including me. So we can set up a good income stream by selling those off.
Yes, Scott is the owner. Is the owner of that revenue stream.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes,
but I think but also I think that we plan to do more of these, don't we? That's the plan, to keep them going now. Keep this consultation going.
Yes.
So we hear from people as we roll stuff out. Well, I say we, as Wayne and the team roll it out.
Wendy, actually, let me say it was the right way to close. We had a town hall of one of our SIGs, Kai, where Julia Williamson, I believe she's present, gave a presentation.
She's here, she's here.
Yeah, and answered. She did a fabulous job. And now we have this webinar, and tomorrow the SIG leaders will have their coffee hour, regular coffee hour, and again, Jack and Wayne and myself and others will be present. And then it was Wendy's original decision, we may start a series of webinars, ACM in the open or some such. We'll continue. I mean, there will be a ACM article written, there will be other sources of information, but this direct contact with the community, not only for openness, but certainly starting from the big issues that we have now, will continue. And thank you, Wendy, for proposing that, and we'll see how we'll implement it. I want to thank very much Jack, Wendy, Wayne and Jan for being here to answer questions and facilitate the discussion. And I want to thank all of you for taking the time, be part here, ask the hard questions. We're not afraid of hard questions, no matter where they're coming from and in what form they're coming from. We are here, volunteers and staff, to find what the community wants and move in the direction. And together with us, volunteer leaders and staff, and you, the broader community, of which we are also part of, will get where we want. Thank you very, very much. Looking forward to seeing you in the next meeting.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.